Disaster inside the Concordia, tonight at 10.
This programme only reflects the personal views of the programme hosts and/or the individual contributors.
Hello and welcome to Newsline. I'm your host, Hyundun Latu. Our guest today is Alan Leung, the leader of the Civic Party. Now, we'll start with the topic of political reform. The consultation process, the second round has just finished, which you and the rest of the Pan-Democrats have boycotted. And it's going to be unveiled, according to the Chief Secretary, in April, which is next month. And also, the final package of proposals will be put to a vote by June or latest by the first week of July. Mm-hmm. You and your colleagues have vowed to boycott the whole process and also to veto the final package. Where are we now?
Well, from the look of things, they don't look good nor promising. The decision of the NPC Standing Committee on 31st of August last year promised Hong Kong nothing but a faked democratic election. The Chinese Communist Party remains the only political party that can nominate people for the job of the chief executive. And Hong Kong people will not be given any real choice, and we can't be our own real bosses. And that does not help to bring Hong Kong back to being governable. So that is why you are right that all 23 pan-democratic legislators would stand by our pledge.
All 27?
Because I only represent 23 as convener of the lunchbox meeting, as we have been calling us. So the other 4 democratic legislators, they would have to speak on their own behalf. But I sense that there is nothing that would make me anxious or worry that probably all 27 would vote against any proposal to be made by the Hong Kong SAR government that is restrained by the NPCSC decision of the 31st of August.
Aren't you playing a zero-sum game here? I mean, you're calling it fake democracy. You're justified to a certain extent because you were expecting something and you're not getting that. But beyond that, I mean, we're talking about a chance for people to actually vote for the CE, whether it's pre-selected or whether there's been a screening out process. But the ordinary voter is actually going to have a say, and you're denying them that. You're saying either we have it all or we have nothing. Is nothing better than something, at least?
Well, that is not quite right, if I may be allowed to tell you why. Firstly, of course, the government has been using the all-powerful propaganda machinery, including APIs, announcement of public interest, on TV and radio, to brainwash Hong Kong people to say, oh, it must be better to have one vote to cast rather than sitting at home and watching TV. But is that right? Now, come to think of it, firstly, you need no reminder that North Korean people also has one vote to hand, right? And the voting rate, as I have been informed, has consistently been over 95%, because you'll be penalized if you do not go to vote. Now, there are 2 things that I would allude to that would support my argument that to pocket this one vote is in fact ending Hong Kong up worse than what we are today. Number one, that would give the Central People's Government a reason to tell the rest of the world that it has already delivered the homework under Article 45 of the Basic Law, because the ultimate electoral model for the chief executive has been pocketed by Hong Kong people. That is no good, because then it will have no incentive whatsoever to hand in that homework. Number two, if we pocket this fake democracy model, the chief executive returned in 2017 probably would not and could not be called 689 anymore. He or she may be 689,000. So armed with such a faked political legitimacy, he or she could do more harm than 689 today, introducing this brainwashing national education and also Article 23, national
so you would rather
security bill, etc.
You would rather that the status quo remain and CY Leung possibly again gets elected with another 689 votes, and we're exactly where we are so many years ago. There's just been no progress at all.
Well, if we accept this fake democratic arrangement for 2017 chief executive election, there will be another CY Leung, even if it is not this one. What is good about giving you a CY Leung Mark II, CY Leung Mark III, and Mark IV to vote for? Right? That is not a real choice, you see. So I would rather maintain the pressure, keep up the tension, so that the Central People's Government will have to deliver what it has promised us, not only in 2007, but much longer before. Because you see, we all know that, well, at the time when Margaret Thatcher visited Beijing and talked to Deng Xiaoping, that Hong Kong would be reverting to a sovereign that practices what has been called and what is people's democratic dictatorship. We know that the values and the institutions in the mainland, in the sovereign that we are reverting to, would be very, very different from Hong Kong's institutions and values. Now, we have been assured by the Sino-British Joint Declaration and its 12 annexes, which will be practiced and implemented through the Basic Law. And of course, since the June 10th white paper, and to be coupled with the 31st August NPC Standing Committee decision, we are told by the Central People's Government that what we have always believed and trusted to be the guardian angel of Hong Kong's values and institutions is gone. Now, so Hong Kong people are not asking for anything that is extravagant. We are just humbly asking the Central People's Government to honor the promises based on which we believe that there would be no problem in keeping our values and institutions, notwithstanding our reversion to a sovereign.
But you can see from the Central People's Government, their stance, their attitude, it's been made abundantly clear during the NPC CPP CC sessions in Beijing that there's nothing's going to change. This is it. This is what you've got. So we're talking about a zero-sum game. You get nothing. They're saying this is it. Take it or leave it, and you're leaving it. So that's it. This is where we are. This is how we end up.
We gain nothing by taking it. In fact, we would lose by taking it. That has been my argument, which I just repeated.
Yes. So you would rather that we just stay where we are then, which is where we're heading right now, right?
Yes, yes, yes. By staying where we are, at least we would be able to hand over to the next generation of democratic fighters, if I may just call us that, to continue the fight. for democracy.
You mentioned, you compared us to North Korea. I mean, Hong Kong's hardly North Korea. We're not suffering that much without the lack of democracy. I mean, we have a lot of freedoms. You could see that even in the Occupy protests, while you and your colleagues talked a lot about the police brutality and the government crackdown. I mean, there was a lot of tolerance, though, right? Or do you accept that much, at least? You couldn't do that in New York, in the world's greatest democracy, in the US.
Well, you have a point there, but the rule of law as an institution and freedoms enjoyed by Hong Kong people would be written on water if you do not have a democratic government that is truly answerable to the people. This is the lesson that I learned while the bar chairman in 2003, standing up against the National Security Bill, then pushed by Regina Yip and C.H. Tung. You see, to build the rule of law as an institution may take decades or even centuries, but to demolish it, it could be done overnight. So that is why we are so adamant to have a government in place that is truly accountable to the people, because that is the ultimate and only effective safeguard for the freedoms that we are enjoying and the rule of law that has been protecting us to be sustainable and to continue to protect us.
But it's going fine so far.
Oh yes, but we can't assume that with a leader like C.Y. Leung to continue to govern and manage Hong Kong for the next decade would end us up in a position that we would find to be the same as what we are in today.
Right now, are you confident that all of you in the pan-democratic camp will vote against this proposal now, as where we stand right now?
There is nothing that I have seen or heard in my day-to-day liaison and working with my other 22 colleagues that would lead me to doubt.
All right. We'll have to take a short break here, but do stay with us. We'll be right back.
All about history